You know the question. The one that follows us to every family gathering, every counselor meeting, every conversation with teachers, parents, and well-meaning adults at this point in our lives. So what do you want to do and where do you want to go? It sounds simple enough. It's just about college plans, but if you've ever frozen up when someone's asked you this question, you know it's so much deeper. Because what they're really asking you is, who do you want to be? And that's a hard question to answer when you're still figuring it out, especially when it feels like your answer somehow defines your worth. I remember the first time someone asked me that question, during my freshman year. I completely froze. I didn't know how to react or respond, and quite frankly, I hadn't quite thought about it yet. And quickly the comparisons began, about how she's going to this Ivy and he's already doing all of these things for his college application. So I did what many of us do. I created a list. Colleges, majors, and degrees. A script that sounded impressive so that when someone would ask, I would have an answer. But deep down, I didn't feel connected to any of it. I was saying what other people wanted to hear and not what was true to myself. That's when I realized the pressure wasn't coming from adults or school. It was coming from me and my fear of disappointing others. Somewhere along the way, the college question stopped becoming about opportunity and started becoming about identity. Once I stopped trying to have an answer and started being curious, I started noticing things that I genuinely loved. Math and design and learning itself. And those things began shaping my path naturally, making it not about a single destination anymore, but about building a path that felt like mine. From the moment we enter high school, the countdown begins. GPA, extracurriculars, leadership positions, and test scores. We start living as if our worth is defined by an application, as if the goal of these 4 years is to craft the perfect resume version of ourselves. We don't even notice when it happens, when learning turns into performing and curiosity turns into comparison. We listen to each other talk about AP scores and grades, goals and internships, and feel that tiny twist in our stomach of, am I behind or am I enough? The American Psychological Association states that teenagers consistently report stress levels equal to or higher than adults with full-time jobs, bills, and families of their own. Imagine that. Teenagers, 16-year-olds, walking around with the same stress levels as working adults. That stress doesn't just stay in our minds. It shows up as anxiety, burnout, and depression. And while we joke all the time about being tired and overwhelmed, the truth is many of us are exhausted and overworked. We call it preparing for the future, but what happens when we sacrifice the present to get there? When society tells us that your worth is based on achievement, rest starts to feel like failure, and that starts to chip away at the joy of learning and living itself. Society tells us that success follows a straight line. Graduate, get into a good college, get a good job, and live a good life. But life isn't a straight line. It's a messy and twisting path with detours and unexpected turns. Except so many of us are afraid to step off this vision of a perfect path because we're afraid of falling behind. But what if falling behind means you're actually building something real? I used to think that everyone knew exactly what they were doing, but the more that I talk to people, the more that I realize that most of us are still figuring it out. Some of the most fulfilled people didn't follow a script. They changed majors 3 times. They took a gap year and they started over. People like Steve Jobs, who dropped out of college, but later credited a random calligraphy class for inspiring Apple's design. These wrong turns become the things that shape who we are. The problem is we don't celebrate that. We celebrate the acceptances and not the uncertainty that comes before them. We post the finished story and not the messy middle. But the messy middle is where purpose is formed. It's where we learn creativity and courage and resilience, the things that make your path yours. So maybe the goal isn't to have a perfect plan. Maybe the goal is to have the patience to discover it. Over the summer, I went and visited family and friends, and I knew the college questions were coming. What do you want to do, and where do you want to go? It came from everyone. People who I hadn't seen since I was 2, and people who I had just met for the first time. And while these questions came from a place of care and curiosity, all I wished is that someone would ask me something different. Not, what do you want to do, but who are you right now? What are you passionate about? What do you enjoy? Who are your friends? What makes you happy? Because your worth and identity shouldn't be defined by a title or a place, but by who you want to make. So maybe we should change the question. Instead of what do you want to do, we asked, what do you care about? Instead of where do you want to go, we asked, what kind of impact do you want to make? Because power and purpose isn't about control or status, it's about alignment. Power isn't the ability to choose a prestigious path, it's the courage to choose an authentic one. Purpose isn't found in a brochure or a degree, it's something you create through experiences, relationships, failure, and growth. So we need to start asking different questions, not just to others, but to ourselves. Because purpose isn't found in the college that you choose, it's found in the why behind every choice that you make. So it's not what is your major, but what makes you come alive. Not where do you see yourself in 10 years, but what kind of person do you want to be today? And maybe, just maybe, the most powerful answer to the college question is this: I don't know yet, but I'm excited to find out.